Okay, so imagine being the most powerful man in all of medieval Europe, and your biggest fear isn't an army, it isn't a rival king, it's your own daughters getting married. That's Charlemagne. And honestly, once you hear the full story, you'll understand exactly why. So Charlemagne, this is late 700s, early 800s Europe. This man controlled more land than anyone had since the Romans. Massive empire, brilliant military mind. But at home, he had this one rule that nobody could quite make sense of. His daughters, Rochrude, Bertha, and Gisela, none of them were allowed to marry. Like, at all. Ever. And everyone just kind of accepted it, because you don't exactly argue with Charlemagne. But here's where it gets interesting. People love to paint this as an overprotective dad who just couldn't let go of his little girls, but that's not it, not even close. Think about what marriage actually meant back then. It wasn't just two people falling in love, it was a political deal, a power transfer. The second one of his daughters married into another noble family, that family suddenly had a man with royal ties sitting right next to the throne. And when Charlemagne eventually died, that man would have every reason and every right to make a move for power. Multiply that by 3 or 4 daughters and you've basically handed your enemies a roadmap to destroy everything you built. So he just didn't let it happen. His solution was to keep them at court, close to him, always. No husbands, no outside alliances, no problem. Neat solution, right? Well, not exactly. Here's the part that genuinely surprised me when I first came across it. Charlemagne's own biographer, a guy named Einhard, who literally lived at the palace, wrote that Charlemagne knew full well that his daughters were sneaking around with men at court, secret relationships, quiet arrangements. He knew. The whole palace probably knew. And he just looked the other way. His daughter Bertha was in a full-on, long-term relationship with this court poet called Angilbert. They had 2 kids together. One of those kids, a boy named Nithard, actually grew up to become one of the most respected historians of that whole period, which is kind of wild when you think about it. And Charlemagne treated those grandchildren like they were completely normal members of the family. No drama, no punishment, no sending anyone away in shame. Which honestly just makes you stop and think, okay, what is actually going on here? And when you sit with it for a second, it actually makes total sense. Charlemagne had built himself this perfect little system without even needing to make it official. His daughters got to have real lives, relationships, children, companionship, all within the safety and comfort of the palace. And he got exactly what he needed politically, which was daughters with 0 legal ties to any outside family. No marriage meant no legal claim. No husband meant no rival quietly gathering power from the inside. These women existed in this really strange in-between world. Not quite prisoners, definitely not fully free, living full human lives inside a system that was designed at its core to protect his empire. They just didn't get a say in any of it. So was Charlemagne a good father? Maybe, in his own way. But was he also a ruthlessly calculated political operator who used even his own children as pieces on a chessboard? Yeah, absolutely. And in medieval Europe, honestly, those 2 things weren't mutually exclusive. That was just Tuesday.